Hey, what's good with you, folks? Welcome to Bolt Blitz Uncut. I'm your host, Booga Peters, joined by my guy, co-host, 80 Simons, piggybacking off a beautiful victory by our Chargers over the division rival Chiefs, 27-21 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. 80, it's a good day to be a Chargers fan. We're sitting here. We've got our first football Sunday on. I've got NFL on 3 different TVs right here. But more importantly, I got my guy 80 from across the pond here to kind of straighten us out regarding what's going on with that Chargers victory over the Chiefs. Justin Herbert, my gosh. Not only did he have a 25 out of 34 for 318-yard, 3 touchdown performance, but he's got Charger fans just going nuts, talking MVP stuff. 80, bring him back down to earth here. As much as we love the performance by Justin Herbert, and of course we appreciate a wonderful victory by the Chargers over the Chiefs, should everybody kind of slow down and temper their expectations? And is this roll a little too hot regarding this whole MVP talk?
Yeah, pump the brakes. Like, straight away, pump the brakes. We came out with like a completely different offense than everybody was expecting. I mean, Greg Roman called it absolutely cracking game. Everyone was expecting this boring run heavy and before the game we thought
a lot of 12, a lot of 13. We didn't see that, did we?
No, this was pass, which is not what we're expecting. Now other teams have had the chance to see this on tape. They're going to react differently to this. So they're not expecting Greg Roman's offense now. They're going to see a little bit of something else. So pump the brakes. 1 game, statement win, beating the Chiefs for only the 2nd time in his career. That's cool. That was fun. And there's a lot of there was a lot of really good Instagram moments. The NFL when he slid at the end, like the NFL put that as a banner photo on their social media.
It is beautiful. Yeah. Hey, listen. Cool. We're not trying to sound like old fuddy-duddies. We're not trying to poo-poo on anybody's parade. But basically what 80 is trying to explain to folks is it's just 1 game. And what was kind of masked in there and hidden a little bit is something you're not seeing kind of out there at anybody else's shows. And I don't know that too many other people are talking about it. But Greg Roman called quite a doozy there, considering he didn't just have you, me, and everybody else confused. He had the Chiefs confused. Let's give a little credit where it's due here to Greg Roman in that offensive game plan, the way that he did employ the weapons he has at his disposal. How impressed were you? And clearly it wasn't what we were expected. Though I don't expect it to be a week in, week out thing. He knew what he was doing and it really worked out, especially against the defensive coordinator, the ilk, if you will, of Steve Spagnuolo. Kind of crazy. Was that your expectation? Clearly not. No. How do they build off of this moving forward, though?
Keep everybody guessing. Because now you don't know, nobody knows what's going to come out every week now. So obviously Greg Roman's evolved his offense during the offseason. Now, not having a lot of tape from the preseason games and not seeing really much from the starters, not really having much footage from a joint practice with the 49ers, which was cancelled. We don't know, and it's great. It's a great thing to see that we don't know what's coming out week in, week out now. And now a lot of the beat writers, the Chargers have essentially banned the beat writers from actually watching practice now. So like even the guys that we follow on Twitter, like you Poppers, you Chris Reed, they can't tell us anything because they don't see it themselves.
Yeah.
So every week's going to be something different, but you're going to get 4 or 5 weeks down the line where teams are going to have tape. That's going to be different. So week 1, like pump your brakes. Like it's 1 game. If they're still performing at this level in week 4, week 5, then start getting excited. But as a headline, we beat the Chiefs. Everybody's happy, and it was a great game. It was fun to watch. So yeah, I'm cool with it. But yeah, just curb your expectations.
MVP talk for Herbert's a little much. Yeah. As well as Herbert played, I think that one of the things that we'd be remiss if we didn't bring up as a show, Greg Roman really called one hell of a game. He was so many steps ahead of Spags. I was very pleasantly surprised. And one of the things that I loved is from beginning to end, including, listen, we've all had, most Charger fans, especially the football heads, if you will, they've had a lot of problems with Greg Roman's inability to adjust after halftime. That clearly was not a problem for the Chargers against the Chiefs. They always had just enough, always had an answer. And even when the Chiefs tried to get something done and did accomplish getting something done, felt like the Chargers had an answer back. This feels a little bit like a different Chargers team. But again, I'm not trying to pump anybody up too high, but Justin Herbert, he sure felt confident. Did it feel like, and we won't go too far with this, but did it feel a little bit like a different Justin Herbert, a little more sure, a little more confident Justin Herbert out there on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, the guy's healthy for the first time in a long time.
So. A lot of confidence comes with pure health, by the way.
Yeah, so like there's no broken fingers, busted shoulders, no plantar fasciitis in your planting foot.
Ribs, I mean, come on.
Broken. He's been playing banged up because those 5 guys in front of him are useless. Four of the 5 guys in front of him are useless. But yeah, he's come into the season, he's happy, he's healthy, and he's got a swagger, and that's nice. I like seeing that. So
it was fun. It was fun to see that as a fan too, because I feel like he's one of these guys that he's already like far too down the path of a Phillip Rivers, and that boy, we can do the numbers, we can accomplish this, we see all the special gifts and this and that, but boy, he hasn't accomplished anything in the postseason. Really like to see him push forward and get a lot of stuff done. You talked about the offensive line. So let's almost kind of keep that in mind while we talk about the weapons. When you have the number of weapons that Joe Ortiz has now added to this Chargers offense, in a KLS and obviously Tyler Conklin via free agency and Keenan Allen recently brought back, which for you folks who couldn't figure out how you could see an offense with both Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey, like we talked about here on this show, it's just fine. You can do it. When you have that many weapons, that's obviously going to allow you to have, I don't want to say a less better offensive line, but one that has a couple holes. But when you have that many weapons, you're allowed to kind of circumvent some of the issues along that line. What did you see from the weapons, regardless of what the offensive line? By the way, as we're talking about the performance of the offensive line, Joe Alt, chef's kiss. Could not be better. I mean, sure, it could have been per somebody's fucking bullshit stats from their basement somewhere. Not in this house, not in 80s home. He was practically flawless. But let's stick with, we'll get to Alt in a minute. Talk about the weapons, though, that the Chargers have on this team right now after an offseason where they really didn't have a lot of options, and then they created some, and Ortiz added enough. How do you feel about the weapons moving forward and the options that made plays during the game against KC?
Well, they've got guys who now can attack at every level. So you've got Keenan, who in short yardage, he can sit in the zone and get you 5 to 7 yards whenever you need it. That's why we call it a 3rd and Keenan. Ladd is becoming an elite level receiver. I mean, he's 6 foot tall, although he doesn't look it. You've got a wiggle to just post you up. He can hit you with short and medium levels. You've got Quentin Johnson, who... The guy.
Hold on. Let me do this. Let me get in front of you real quick. As much as we all want to shit on Quentin Johnston and give him a hard time for this, that, and the other, he showed out. 2 touchdowns. First touchdown of the season for the Chargers. He's doing it in Brazil. He's doing it in a foreign environment where, even though last year, by the way, and we're going to bring it up for just a quick second, that when the Eagles played there, they were in both end zones, but of course, while the Chiefs are there against, the lowly Chargers, we're going to make sure that both the end zones represent both teams. Yeah. But Quentin Johnston, 2 touchdowns. He was doing a little bit in the run game as a blocker too. That was kind of nice. Can we give him a little bit of props for him getting 2 tutties on the first week of the season?
I'll give him some. So when this new coaching staff came in, they actually sat him down in Jim Harbaugh's office and actually tried to figure out what he can do. So, and essentially the guy knows how to run 3 NFL routes. And those are the routes you're going to keep seeing from him. You're going to see the short digs coming in. You're going to see the deep crossing route, which is what he got.
Deep crossers, deep ends, digs.
Yeah, and the go route, which he ran several times last year and got touchdowns because of mostly blown coverages. But
honestly, I don't ever want to see him run a go or a 9, anything ever again like that, because he just. And there was the one play that they had on Friday night where Herbert still chose to go to him deep, and he doesn't. I don't feel confident or that he's comfortable tracking it. And I mean, it's not just tracking it though. Like he doesn't set his hands up. He's so uncomfortable.
He's here rather than here. It's like
he's everywhere but where he needs to be in that situation. That being said, we're not going to do that. We're not going to pile on Quentin Johnson. We're actually going to talk about how great he played. And it was nice to see him get 2 of the Chargers touchdowns. The fact that Herbert played out of his mind, it's not overly surprising to us. What AD is saying by pump the brakes is we don't need it. We don't need him to be an MVP. Nobody needs him to be an MVP right now. They just need him to focus and continue to do what he did in week 1, because when he plays like that, regardless of who's blocking in front of him, they do have enough weapons in Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, even a Disley here and there, a Conklin there. They've got some guys. Hampton as a receiving option. Harris, I was a little surprised at how little he was utilized in the game. I thought he might have a little higher exposure. They obviously know a lot of things that we don't, so maybe I wouldn't be surprised if I knew what they knew. Looking at Keenan coming back, 3rd and Keenan real quick, 7 catches, 68 yards and a touchdown. Kind of nice to have him back in lightning bolts. Didn't look too slow to me. Your thoughts on his performance real quick, and then we'll get going.
Like he never left. He just picked it up with Herbert. It's like he's never been to Chicago. It was
awesome.
It was nice. It was like home. Yeah,
it did feel like home. I'm so glad you said it that way too. There was just a comfort feeling. Even Caden, my son, we're sitting here watching the game, obviously, and we're going nuts. And it was just like every time, the very first time that Keenan made a play, my son was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I keep forgetting he's a Charger again."
Yeah.
And it was just like, "Oh no, he's back. It's okay. Embrace it. It's hard. There's a lot of moving parts in the NFL, even on your favorite team." Obviously, he knows. It just was like you settle back into that. Oh,
yeah,
you got that guy again.
Having Keenan on the field is like having your favorite kind of comfort food. It's just like,
and I bet Justin Herbert would agree with you.
Yeah, it's like having comfort food. It's just like it's not a Michelin star 5, 3, 4 star meal. He is just your favorite comfort food. It's just like when something's going wrong, you like if you're having a bad day, you've got a Keenan
down, red zone.
Yeah. You've got a Keenan Allen. You can always rely on a Keenan Allen to make you feel better. He is what you want. And he's great. He's like, he's lost a little bit of a step, but he's still Keenan Allen.
He's still that route runner, though. There were a couple times DBs that he crossed up where he came back across.
Yeah.
And he's still lost in backpedal. Oh, off balance.
Yeah.
He still has that to him, that wiggle. You just can't. I mean, you could try to teach that stuff, but it's so natural and so easy for him.
Yeah, and you put him and Ladd on the same side of the field together, like people are going to get crossed over and shook up, and ankles are going to get taken. So you're going to need DBs pressing you up, and you're going to need a safety over the top, which opens up the rest of the field. I mean, if you've got those two one side and you've got Quentin Johnson the other side running that deep over, that gives you zones and extra windows where he's going to get a lot more production. And the same with the 2 tight ends as well. I mean, they can both go 20 yards for every catch, and as long as they don't fumble.
That was a letdown, huh? And listen, I gotta tell anybody out there who's listening that has heard me kind of not necessarily be in favor of the Tyler Conklin acquisition. I wasn't excited, nor was I celebrating when he fumbled his first big play opportunity there. I was glad that Ladd made, by the way, for everybody trying to say Ladd fucked up by hitting the ball out of bounds. No, we'll take the 10-year penalty. You keep possession. That's just a savvy play by a second-year veteran who decided to do exactly what he should have done. Ladd doesn't have the frame to be falling on fumbles and getting at the bottom of a pile with folks. Let's just make that clear. He made the smart play. 80, I'm assuming you'd agree, and we can put that shit to bed, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you've got linebackers coming in, everyone's going to jump onto the ball.
It was a D. I don't know if it was a D end or a D tackle, and I know it got deep down the field, but there was enough hefty, larger numbered players to where Ladd did exactly what he should have done. Get that thing out of there, man. Just knock it out of bounds.
Yeah,
it's a savvy bet.
So he did exactly what he was supposed to do without getting himself hurt, putting himself in any danger. Ball went out. We keep the possession. Our two tight ends, Conklin and Disley, they're C+ guys. They're going to do your job week in, week out. They're not going to.
Were you disappointed in Disley and the fact that now that there's Tyler Conklin as a possible receiving threat, they didn't go to Disley really at all? And even when he was in there, it's not like he was overly impressive. Were you a little surprised at how he played, or is that just kind of a wake up call for fans who thought that he was great last year?
Again, the game that Greg Roman called was different to anything that we were expecting. So we may revert back to last year at some point, and you'll see a little bit more of him. And the game plan may change week to week. We may see more of Tucker Fisk. That you're going to see more play action with your tight ends. I'm not until we see more consistency from this offense. Then I'm not going to say, "Oh, I'm not happy about this. I like this." It is what it is, and I'm just enjoying the win as a fan.
Well, I know the fact that, winning against the Chiefs, you start off the season, obviously, with 3 divisional games, Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos, bam, bam, bam. And to beat the team that I was the most concerned about, that's not to take a shit on either the Raiders nor the Broncos. More concerned about the Broncos than the Raider game, if I'm being honest. But beating the Chiefs in an opening game where we know that Jim Harbaugh went into the game 5-0 all time in NFL openers. But Andy Reid's not too bad at all when it comes to game planning for that first week. And for the Chargers to come out on top and to win it the way that they did, it felt good. The fact that they had a 9-point lead going into that game late, were able to hold on and exchange a score enough to get the dub. It was a good feeling. Yeah. And we're not sitting here trying to shit on Charger fans. I want to make that clear. But because we've been Charger fans for a really long time, let's be real patient and see how this kind of rolls out before we sit here talking about Super Bowls and expecting anything crazy. While we've taken all this time here, the first 17 minutes of the show on Bolt Blitz Uncut, talking about all the guys who had great games, good games, let's talk about some of the guys who had rough showings. The edge group as a whole. The pass rush group. We're going to beat them up a little bit here over this next segment. Let's start with Tuli Tuipulotu. If you're a box score guy, you saw 1 tackle. If you watched the game, you really didn't see him at all. You might have missed 1 tackle.
Yeah, the whole edge rush group as an entire unit.
Including Khalil Mack. We're not just going to sit here and shit on Tuli. I'm not trying to do that. We don't do that here.
Yeah, no, the edge rush group as a whole were a non-factor in this game. Nothing, there was no pressure on whatsoever. So I'll use PFF grade because that's kind of an easier one on the scale of 0 to 100. I think 70 is like a good. The entire defensive front, Mac, 54 out of 100. That's not a passing grade. That's not good. Tuli.
Well, and where did you see him make any plays? I mean, I just kept I saw him funneled out of so many pass rushes.
Yeah.
It just felt like he was just easily kind of set aside, if you will.
Yeah, so the rookie Josh Simmons did a nice number on him, kept him quiet the whole game when a rookie. And he's a San Diego guy. He's
we talked about him a lot prior to this.
Actually, in the group chat, he's a San Diego guy. San Diego State before transferring to Ohio State. We know a little bit about the guy, and he's the real deal. I like him. He's very smooth.
But hey, let me make it clear, he doesn't like him too much. Now with that red and white.
He wears the wrong color jersey. Monday through Saturday, I like the guy. Sunday, F that guy.
Yeah. No, we're one of the and I like that you kind of said it that way too. We're one of those shows we're not afraid to talk about the players that we like and that we appreciate because we like good football. This isn't just about the Chargers. This is a football show. This is for football heads and people who actually appreciate knowing the game and being executed either properly or improperly on Sundays. Speaking of that, Trey Harris, 2nd round pick. 5 snaps, 80.
Yeah.
I did not expect the 5 snaps in the basically the lack of existence in the game plan. Is this where you were at regarding what you were expecting for him in that game?
I would have expected him and KLS to get in a little bit more. 5 snaps for a second round pick is not good, considering the KLS had what, 13?
KLS had 14 or 15 snaps. He had double digit. He was about 3 times as much. Sure.
Yeah, your second round pick, that's got to pick up, but that's got to improve. Otherwise, like, that's a waste of a pick. I mean, looking at some of the draft picks already that we've cut from this year, and yeah, you've got a first round pick that may or may not have finished first on the depth chart. I know the official Chargers depth chart has him as number 2.
Yeah.
Even though he started this game. Your second round draft pick played like minimal snaps. Your third rounder, I think at one point is listed as like the number 3 defensive end on the depth chart. Your fourth rounder hasn't played at all. Your fifth rounder, KLS, absolute diamond in the rough. He's absolute. Then you've got.
He didn't do really anything in the game at all.
No, but he had an impressive preseason, and if he can carry,
he did. But let's be clear about that too, though.
Well, yeah, if you can pass that into the real season, he's going to get opportunities. He's a speedster, so he's going to, in certain games under certain defenses, he's going to be brought in to take the top off the defense, to create opportunities for the deep, the drags, the deep the crosses, and everything that works underneath. If teams are stacking boxes, he's going to be coming in to take the top off the defense. They're either going to have to stretch the field more, or he's going to be getting a lot of touchdowns at 14, 50 yards.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, well, KLS has his uses. He's a speed guy who can actually catch a ball.
He's a real 4-3 guy too, 4-3-7. But I wanted, I don't even know if we even touched on it enough earlier, but the fact that the Chargers have Ladd, they have Keandre Lambert-Smith, they actually have some legitimate speed. It's not these big guys who are fast and good at getting down the field and tracking a deep ball. It's Quentin Johnson who has trouble tracking a deep ball, but I love the way that this offense is actually built. I'm not too fond of the way that the offense has been built via the tight end position. And you and I will talk about that this show and every show about, are we sure that Joe Ortiz is drafting the proper weapons for our guy, our OC there, but
no.
Does he draft the right guys for Greg Roman in your mind?
No.
Ronda Gadsden Jr. Like did that was the guy at tight end? I know that everybody's excited about him, and I'm not trying to take a shit all over him. I just mean he didn't make sense to me when they really could use. I like Tucker Fisk, by the way. Sorry, but I mean like a marquee guy who just happens to be able to do both. I don't necessarily mean Tyler Warren, but somebody more of that type of skill set.
Yeah, Mason Taylor would have been my first selection straight away.
Of course he would have been.
I love Mason Taylor. He was like the second best graded blocker, one of the best sort of like short and medium range receiving threats in this draft. He was probably the closest thing to the perfect prospect. The LSU offense translates really well to the NFL because we have so many friggin' wide receivers in the NFL from LSU. The offense that they
most of the best ones. Justin Jefferson.
But they kind of like they minimized his production on the college level because they have so many good receivers, but you actually see what the guy can do, and the guy's ended up in New York. So
what do you say to those guys who say he can't block at all?
He's the second best graded blocker in this draft, so if he can't block, show me who can. But yeah, Gadsden can't block, and he's
afraid of blocking, from what people told me on the interwebs.
Oh yeah. Well, we saw some of the tape. Miami, and there was a game earlier in the season. He was set up to run screens, and he was like, no, don't want that, and like split zone blocks where you'd let the backside tackle come down, and he would take that guy who was like just didn't want any part of that. The guy's a receiver that's had 2 major injuries, and he's kind of been put into the kind of designated tight end position.
A Y slot.
Yeah, he doesn't have the skill set for a Greg Roman.
We're talking about Ronda Gadsden, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't have the required skill set. I mean, in the private group chat that we have, I actually asked ChatGPT whether he thought that as well. And even they said, like, no.
Oh, ChatGPT went to town, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll have to share the screenshot of that at some point. But, yeah, there was just like a tight end that can't block is going to have very, very limited opportunities in the Greg Roman offense. And he can't do it. He doesn't have that.
And how many snaps did he get at tight end? I mean, it was a...
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I mean, he wasn't.
It's a bummer. But yeah, hey, you know, he got 0, by the way, just so everyone knows.
He wasn't active. He wasn't active. He listed the tight end 4 on the depth chart, and he because. And you'll probably
be surprised that they only went with 2 tight ends, real quick.
I'm surprised they didn't bring Fisk in. I don't think we'll start seeing Gadsden until maybe if a couple of receivers go down injured, and you need another receiving threat. If we lose 1 or 2 guys for a game, then we'll probably start seeing more of them. But until that point, I don't see where he has a place in this team. I think if he'd been put on the 53-man squad, released and put on the P squad, somebody would have taken him, like say Rice last year. If somebody if he only stayed on that 53-man squad because you'd lose him on the practice squad, somebody would sign him straight away. And but he doesn't. Gadsden doesn't have the skill set, and then you've also got the
one sentence thought on Rocket Sanders scoring the Cleveland Browns' first touchdown of the season.
Oh,
1 sentence thought.
Yeah, and it was like a 3-yard, like a goal line, like a 3-yard run. It's like, you could really do with a guy like that. I mean, especially come November, December, they're the kind of games that win you, give you those extra points. I mean, as we're talking with Justin about the MVP, nobody wins MVP week 1, and you win them October, November, December. That's when you start
Absolutely.
winning. This is when you need your run game to step up. This is when you need the power run that Greg Roman likes to run, and then you obviously need your defense. That's what leads a team to success, not 1 week with a QB.
But boy, if he can maintain something even similar to that, I mean, there's not a lot more you can ask out of your quarterback. I'll say this: everybody needs to slow their roll and chill out on the MVP talk. But boy, a confident Justin Herbert has truly shown in this game. I know y'all don't like to count regular season games when it comes to the overall success of Justin Herbert, but we do. It was great to see him have the game that he had. Slow your roll on the MVP talk, but let's also not throw out the fact that this was a phenomenal game against the Steve Spagnuolo defense that gives all quarterbacks fits, regardless of how young, old, or in between they are. Let's go back to the defensive side of the ball. We've talked about the guys that had some good games, obviously on offense, Keenan, Herbert, obviously, QJ with the 2 touchdowns. Otito Ogbonnia, speaking of PFF scores, a 42.
42.
That's 4 fingers on one hand, a peace sign on the other. Kind of a rough showing for a guy that a lot of us were kind of building up a lot of hope regarding how that he could contribute to this defense moving forward. Thoughts on Ogbonnia, and then we talked about Mack a little bit too, but the whole edge group, the defensive line, not looking so good. 80 non-factor, that's a problem. So talk about that moving forward. What's that going to look like, and where's your biggest concern out of that group with Ogbonnia being up a 42?
The ability to stop the run. You're going to have to do that. That's why you have these big nose tackles. I mean, we're running 2 and 3 down linemen. Caldwell, Tia Tart, and Ogbonnia. They in your short.
Ogbonnia had a Tia Tart had a phenomenal game. He played out of his mind. Batted balls. Hey, real quick. I normally would never condone slapping another player in the face mask.
But
rearranging the way that helmet sits upon that neck. But if he was going to do it, boy, if he's going to swat anybody right like that, having him do it to Kelsey didn't feel too bad, did it?
Yeah, the Taylor Swift, the Swifties were not happy, and they're still going at him. They are still at him.
Yeah, we'll be real gentle about how we talk about that on this show. But I'll tell you right now, the reason we have to be is because some of the verbiage in there is not appropriate for this show, and they're not words we would ever use.
And I think
nasty shit.
Yeah, I think Travis should be coming out and saying, like, slow your roll, it's football, that's like, it's over and done with. If they're going to dog this guy for the entire
Does it say anything about them if they don't come out and say that?
Yeah, then, well,
I'm just, hey, we don't do that here. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. That's not fair.
Yeah, they like, no, there's being an outraged football fan, and then there's being a screaming little, like, 14-year-old girl. It's just like, no, this needs to stop. Come on. I mean, some of the
let's stick on the defensive side, but almost in a segue into the special teams unit. Ja Taylor, 15 snaps on special teams and a lot less on defense. In other words, 0. Let's just make it clear. I appreciated a lot of the shows that were out there saying, I don't see how Ja makes this team. But more importantly, I really appreciated the shows out there saying that Ja Taylor, he was going to make this team because Ficken gets what Ficken wants. And I'd say that this was a great example of just that. He didn't play any snaps on defense and any in coverage, which I appreciate as a guy who actually loves and enjoys watching secondary play, because when Ja's in there, I don't enjoy it as much. The fact that they kind of limited him to special teams, I very much appreciated. 80, in your opinion, when it comes to solidifying that point and kind of hammering it home, Ja Taylor or any player that Ryan Ficken really wants at the squad, there's a good chance they're going to be there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was Delshon Phillips had the same. He barely played. He was injured. He was a candidate to go onto IR. He came off IR before the season started, and he was put on
right before the season started. Sure.
Yeah, they said Ficken said, like, in an interview with Chris Rim during his press conferences, that the phrase was squared away. So he was automatically had a spot. Like, he's my special teamer. He seems like he's giving him what he wants, because special teams is becoming more and more important with field position. So a guy who can get down the field, Jahir Taylor is the best gunner on the team. That is literally the only reason why he's actually made the team. But going back to previous seasons, the only reason Austin Eckler actually made the Chargers 53-man squad originally, because he was the team's best gunner, and he turned out okay. But some guys make a career out of it.
I'm glad you said it. I couldn't say it.
Well, some guys make a career out of it. Well, anybody know a Patriots guy called Matthew Slater? He played how many years? Yeah.
18, 19, 20. I mean, it was ridiculous.
And he was good.
Hey, if it was for special teams, I wouldn't have hardly played. So I love special teams. You better stop at that.
Yeah, so he has his uses. I mean, he's a liability in coverage. It's a bit of a one-dimensional thing to be. People want to see as having crazy amounts of defensive backs and doing everybody playing coverages. Some guys are just, they have a role. That's his. Guys with, like Delshon Phillips as well, they have a role to play, and Ficken is firmly got them in that position now.
Jim Harbaugh clearly believes in that third phase. I mean, it's how his brother started to move up the ranks. I believe John started as a special teams coordinator, or somewhere within that realm. I believe Jim did as well way long ago. So they like that idea. That's something they can always get behind. Jim Harbaugh, not only is he the right coach for this team, he's the right coach for the NFL. I love that Chargers fans give no fucks about anything that went on with the NCAA regarding Harbaugh. Notice how no one's talking about it right now. It was 2 weeks ago? Not even.
Yeah. And you were seeing like teams of like Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos fans. Oh, the NFL should suspend him as well. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, nobody gives a fuck. Literally. No, sorry, y'all. No. Y'all want people to care, but nobody does. Not in the NFL.
Yeah. No, it's probably the reason why he actually did dip in the end. He probably got a heads up about what was coming. And it was just like, I need to go. And he landed at the right place.
Well, I'm sure that he realized, there are some jobs out there, but it doesn't matter which one I get, because it's going to get so much notoriety to where I'm going to get paid regardless of which one it is. I win no matter where I go.
Yeah, he took his he famously took his RV and had it driven across to LA, and for the first, I think, 2 months that he was actually in LA, he was living in an RV right by the Pacific Coast Highway. Him and Greg Roman Roman actually had the Chargers video. Him and Greg Roman actually living in like RVs and campers.
I love that shit though. I thought that was fun to watch. I like that kind of stuff. I think that's cool.
Shows you how good of a relationship those guys have as coaches and just how they.
I know, and it makes me feel bad for shitting all over Roman all the time. But man, did he really nail this? He really nailed this. This last game when it came to the play calling. Here's what I don't think that he's going to get enough credit for is he was really willing to kind of shit on the Greg Roman philosophy, which is run. They threw. They passed the ball to set up passing the ball more. How surprised were you by that? I was incredibly surprised. Was it something that you expected? I mean, or were you like me, like what is going on here?
Oh, yeah, even the commentators was like, it's a pass again. It's like, what's going on? Like
this is a Roman offense, I thought.
Everybody was expecting the heavy run, the heavy sets, the two backs, the two tight ends, and you were going to go for 3.5 yards, cloud of smoke, and just reset and be really boring. And this is the reason why the majority of Chargers fans are like want him gone, because he's just like got no imagination. But his run offense is in the last.
It's the most imaginative run game in the NFL. So I don't like this whole no imagination bullshit. And you're right, because I see it everywhere. I'm not saying I don't like that you're saying it. I don't like that people are saying that kind of shit. Greg Roman has, I'm telling you, if you broke down each one of the runs and the way that he sets them up and the personnel he calls them out of, it's not just an inventive. It's really, really fucking genius. It's really smart the way that he employs his blockers within the gap scheme while also adding in a little bit of zone read stuff. Yeah. I love the way that he sets up the run. I wish that they could do it a little bit more. I just don't feel confident enough in this offensive line to do that. So moving forward, they wanted to be, obviously, with the drafting of Amari and Hampton in the first round and the free agency acquisition of Najee Harris, they wanted to be a run-first team, but do you expect to see more of this aerial Greg Roman attack that we've been introduced to in Sao Paulo, Brazil?
I would expect a hybrid of both. So now teams have tape of what happened in week one. That's going to put DCs on a bit of a back burner. Okay, what team's coming out this week? So are they going to be this team? So preparation, you're gonna have an opportunity now to maybe just catch people off guard. And then at some point, if you need to be more clock managing, go back to the run game. You're very good at the run game. But it's exciting, and we nobody knows. No, last year everybody kind of knew what we were all going to see. Now everybody's thinking because you've got the Raiders coming up, the Broncos coming up, so we need a good 4 or 5 weeks of tape to kind of have a look at the analytics of the run-pass splits, who's doing what, so we can get a better idea of what this offense is this year, because it's a lot different to what anyone was expecting. And the talking heads that you see online in charge of Twitter that were calling for his job, they're kind of backtracking a little bit, actually congratulating him for calling a game. And like, yeah, it's nice. It's refreshing. I think it's a phrase I want to use. Refreshing to see this from somebody that's been a bit of a run-heavy dinosaur.
It was a different game to watch as a Chargers fan, especially in this new Chargers era, if you will. I expected not just heavy run. I expected it to be different and varied and multiple, and it was just we're lining up 4 wide more than they had all last season in one game. And it's because they really bought into the fact that the personnel they had this season could allow them to do so. I think that what AD has been trying to get to this whole time regarding Greg Roman is that I don't know that we're being fair to this guy. I think that he does actually know what the hell he's talking about, and maybe he just hasn't had the weapons at his disposal. Excuse me, and that's what AD's been trying to say. I don't think there are too many pieces away, but with the Chargers not addressing the interior offensive line, fans are all up in arms, and they don't understand why in the world they would run it back with Zion and Bozeman. But Slater's coming back next year in some capacity and at some position. There's a lot of really, really exciting things with this combination of coaches. There's many folks out there talking about men are getting snatched up. Until it happens, I'm not concerned about it. It's just 1 week. But the Harbaugh-Greg Roman relationship, I don't see that getting broken up. Should Ortiz start to draft more appropriately for that offense, I think that we would see it pay dividends. I don't know that I'm too concerned about the offense. The lack of a pass rush moving forward. Big concern, the offensive line. Sorry, offensively, little concern there as far as depth. And boy, there's some names on there we haven't seen a lot of success with in the past. But the lack of a pass rush, highly concerning me. 80, before we sign off for the night, any major concerns going forward? Is there anything you want to point out to the fans there that they need to actually take a brighter look at and something a bit more positive? One or the other or both?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, the trenches, based on this showing, the trenches are going to be a big problem. I mean, Joe Alt, I love that guy. Like, he played an absolute blinder. The other 4 guys, really bad. The trenches,
really bad, by the way. There's no, let's not mince words about it. They were bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's some nice plays that look really good on, like, 8 to 10 second Instagram clips, but then you watch like the whole series and the way things were set up wasn't good. They had to protect Trey Pipkins a lot by sliding the line, pulling guys under, doing what we call like wrap protection, bringing tight ends in, bringing running backs in to protect him. That is not sustainable over a whole season. You can't just protect one guy.
It's too easy for defensive coordinators to game plan around that if that's what they're consistently seeing from an offense.
Yeah, you're protecting them way too much now. So now, if you know in certain situations, if you run this kind of defensive overfront, they're going to bring the tight end across, they're going to bring a running back across. That allows you to take those guys out and bring somebody up the middle, which they did twice with Drew Tranquil. He came in from like press positions, came in through the middle of the O-line because everybody was kind of trying to protect Pipkins, rather than the running back being in like a pass blocking situation, actually watching everybody there. So, I mean, I'm down about the O-line because, like, despite the fact that Joe Ortiz has been very, competitive, welcome, offensive line, we're really important to us. They refuse to acknowledge the offensive line at all. And they did spend a lot of money.
Oh, no, they drafted Branson Taylor. Then cut him, brought him back.
Yeah. Well, he was a tackle that they projected to play guard on the next level. But then when Slater...
How'd that go when they tried him at guard, by the way?
Yeah. Then, he spent some time at guard camp. Then when Slater went down, it was like, well, he's played both positions at college, at Pitt, so he was now going to be our swing tackle along with David Sharp. Neither of them were really good enough, so they had to trade for Austin Deculus, who got on the field.
One time, one snap.
More than most of us have been honest.
No, I know that. I'm just talking about Deculus.
Yeah. So he's like Austin Deculus. He was a really good college level player. So for those who don't know, he was the right tackle on Joe Burrow's LSU team. So he's not really had many opportunities at Houston while he's been there. He's not. There's not a lot there with him. He'll come in and play for the season, and probably be finding a new home somewhere else next year. But as we are saying now with the offensive line, it bend rather than break. There's not enough dominance there on the line, and even the guy that we brought in, Mekhi Becton, he spent most of the preseason hurt. Week 1, he was injured. He only came back. He may have only had 2 or 3 actual practice sessions before actually starting week 1, which is not a good place to start from. So he didn't have a great performance. So
not for a man that size too. Let's not pretend like he just gets to show up and he's in shape. You got to work your ass off at all points to be in game shape for football shape. And when you're 6'8", 360 pounds or whatever it is right now, I'm sure he's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see what the guy really is. Now, last year he had Lane Johnson, who's a Hall of Famer. You had Landon Dickerson, the left guard, arguably going to be a Hall of Famer. Jordan Mailata's the best overall left tackle in football, next to Joe Alt. He was highly protected last year and still did pretty well, but now he's going to be on an island where he's going to be expected to be starting mauling people and taking over some of these blocks. So now we're going to see what 12 million a year is going to buy you. And yeah, we're going to see over the next 3 or 4 weeks what kind of what he's got left in the tank. I mean, we already know he's got one bum right knee, plus other issues with him. But he's the best we've got, and we've got to roll with him, and we're paying him 21 million over the next 2 years to be that guy.
80, before we sign off, let's end the show with this, and we're not going to tease people too much, and we're not going to go too far in depth on this. But now that we've seen Joe Alt at the NFL level start an NFL game, not a late season one, but an early season game at left tackle, everybody's saying, Joe Alt's never going back to right tackle. Rashawn Slater is going to have to figure some other shit out. As much as we won't talk too long about that, your thoughts on the Bolt fam and Chargers Twitter out there talking about this being the way that things might go once Rashawn Slater comes back healthy next season?
That will be decided in camp next year because Rashawn Slater is still getting paid a lot of money. They're going to figure out what's left of Rashawn Slater now. If he's good enough to come back as a tackle, is he going to be a guard? There's a lot of stuff we don't really know, but based
on the severity of the injury and the type of injury he has, guys, it's not a joke. This is a big deal. Yeah,
so I'm going to be going to a camp with Duke Mayweather, who is Rashawn Slater's coach. I'm going to try and find out what's going off because, nothing's coming out of the Chargers. I mean, nobody's actually told us whether he's had surgery or not yet, which everything's been very tight-lipped. So I'm expecting him to go back to Dallas at some point, do his recovery there, and spend some time with in the Chargers building as well.
That's where he spends his off seasons anyway, right?
Yeah, well, he goes there every year. He
works with Duke.
He's from Dallas originally. His parents are there. I mean, he didn't play his final season at Northwestern because he did online classes because of COVID and spent the whole year training with Duke. His parents are from there. So every offseason, he rents an Airbnb. He takes Trey Pipkins with him. He takes Foster Sorrell with him, and they all go work out with Duke Mayweather, Mayweather, for that whole period of time. I'm going to the O-line masterminds camp because I'm an O-line coach. I'm an O-line nerd at heart. So whenever you see me on this and my Twitter at 80 Simons on Twitter, you're going to see me just post O-line stuff because that is, I'm a 6'11", 335-pound offensive lineman at heart. That is who I am. O-line is what I am. I coach it on various different levels, and I've played at various different levels. I'll be more critical about O-line than anybody else. Watching tape is bugging me already. Joe Alt.
Hey, let me back you up real quick. 80 of all the people that I talk NFL with and have over the years, 80 is one of the most knowledgeable O-line guys that I've ever had conversations with. He's far above my pay grade when it comes to speaking about the O-line position. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with me, I've talked to everybody in the game about O-line. I've talked to everybody. I've talked to the O-line guys. So
so you have CBS.
80 is one of my guys because I'm lucky enough to have him be one of the guys. 80, let's go ahead and sign this shit off. Chargers look impressive against the Chiefs. We're not ready to crown them because we don't do that shit here. But any closing thoughts at all?
MVPs and Super Bowls are not won in week one. They're won in November, December. And that's where we need to be consistent every week and just enjoy the ride because it's going to be a fun one this season by the look of it.
It does look like it's going to be a fun season. You guys have been watching Bull Blitz Uncut here on YouTube and everywhere else. We put this damn thing out there. I'm your host, Booga Peters. We are out of here. We'll be back Tuesday evening about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Who knows who we'll bring to the table? We are working on some things, and we know that you've already enjoyed our guests so far. I'm Booga Peters on behalf of 80 Simons and our producer extraordinaire. We miss you. We love you, Kyle Nash. Y'all have a great night. Who's got it better than us, 80?
Nobody.
Nobody. We out.
All right.